Greetings, and I hope you're doing well at this time. It's good to see all of you friends. I want to remind you as we study through our book of Proverbs, Practical Pillars for Powerful Living, that the very beginning of the study in Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 1 says, "Wisdom hath builded her house." Well, as we've been looking along at the pillars which take care of the house, so to speak, of the society, we also saw that the devil has anti-pillars. Proverbs chapter 6. 6 things are an abomination, yea, 7. And so we've been looking at those individually. Well, today we come up to one that I believe is going to take us 2 sessions to do because it is of so importance and yet it is so attacked by the enemy. You know, years ago as I was growing up in South Georgia, I remember seeing alligators all over the place. And I remember seeing them in Florida when we lived in Florida as well. And even here in the Carolinas, occasionally you get one, but mainly more in the warmer climates. But for a long time, the alligators were said to be going extinct. And then they put in all these laws in place and everything. But I can tell you for sure that alligators are definitely not extinct. Well, there are those that would like to say that family values and that families are going extinct. And what we know as the traditional family is extinct. But I have seen some, and they are doing quite well. Very interesting thing is you look at the alligator lives and thrives best not in clean water, but in murky water. And so it is that the family, even though we live in times that maybe seem dirty and muddy sometimes, can live very well and thrive. The book of Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 27 says, "Prepare thy work without, and make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterwards build thine house." Then in verse 30 it says, "I went by the field of the slothful, and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was grown over with thorns, and nettles had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall thereof was broken down. Then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it and received instruction. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, so shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man." You know, family, and I'm going to use a term that some have taken for another way, but family must be planned. I'm not talking about family planning as we think of maybe as a particular organization, but I'm talking about setting some godly goals for your family. Whatever your family may encompass. I know there are those that are single family homes, there are single folks, there are those that are in maybe split family homes, but whatever that encompasses in your life as far as a family, there needs to be some planning. And even though you may say, well, ours is too late, it's just absolutely, it's all out the door, there's no way we can plan it. It's never too late to set some godly goals for your family situation. You know, that we must first understand when we're setting godly goals, particularly in marriages and in mates, that we must understand the difference between lust and love. Lust states, I want you to give to me now. But love, true love, states, I want you to be happy, and I want to give to you. And so those are some godly goals you must first start out with, as 1 Corinthians 13 states, on charity, on love. Too many times we also associate family planning goals as buying a new car, buying a house, retirement, etc. But what are your spiritual goals for your family? You know, as we started our family years ago, one of the things that was most important to us was not that we have a lot of things. We've been blessed to have all we need, and sometimes we have more than we need, and many times we've had some really nice things. But I don't ever want the things to be more important than the people. Places never take precedence over people. And sometimes it's very easy to think, well, I've got to have this house, or I've got to have that, and I've got to... Sometimes kids just need a little more time, not a little more things. And if you were to actually be asked to sit down, and maybe I'm kind of doing that now, I'm asking you, what are your spiritual goals for your family? Family must also be promoted. family is important, not only planned, but promoted. Proverbs chapter 18 and verse number 21. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord. And so it tells us that family is important, as it does throughout the entire Bible. But it should be promoted. It should be seen as a good thing. Don't ever make light of the fact of family. Make it an important thing. And when very beginning God said that man should leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, he wasn't writing that for Adam. Adam really only had one choice. He was writing that for those that would come later on to realize that they must branch out on their own and start their own family and become that unit that always is together. It must be promoted. It must be special. Another thing that family must be prepared. And once again, I'm not as much talking about financially, though finances is important. But there are times that are going to come up. The grouchy times that are going to come up. I've kind of labeled them as that. In Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 1, there are going to come times that are not very good and not very happy. Better is a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. There's going to come times when it's going to feel like you just have a dry morsel. But if you have family love there and you are serving God, then that's okay. It's better than a whole large house full of all kind of things. During those tough times, that's when the alligator thrives the best, and that's really when the family can survive that as well. Also, another time is in the great times. Family must be promoted in the great times. Proverbs chapter 30 and verses number 7 and 8. Solomon, who was one of the richest kings who ever lived, penned these words, "Two things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove me far from vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, Who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain." Do you know sometimes it's harder to remember to stay close to God in the great times? And Solomon is saying, don't make it too good for me and don't make it too rough for me, if you will, so that I can be right in the middle and I can remember who you are and whose that I am. And so there are grouchy times and great times in family. In Proverbs 24:3, he says, "Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established." That's a little bit shorter session today, but I'm going to ask you to do something, have a little homework for you. Just take a sheet of paper and write down, or maybe on your tablet or your computer, or however you choose to journal things, and write down some of the specific things that you wish to accomplish with your family this year. What are the goals that you have for your family? We have often in our ministry together, my wife and I had a little saying, if you aim for the moon or the stars and you miss and hit the tree over there, well, that's a lot better than aiming for the tree and missing and blowing your foot off. So aim high, have some goals, aim for the stars, and pray that God will help you meet those. Because family really is important, and it is one of the biggest things that the devil has attacked to try to destroy our society is family, and to try to make the family unit disappear. But as long as there are Christians on earth, he will never be able to do so. So take to heart, family is important. Now God bless you, and I hope you have a great day. Don't forget that a proverb a day keeps the devil away.